I want to offer a special welcome for anybody new to our congregation or anyone visiting. There is a address on the bottom of the screen, our email address for the church. So feel free to use that if you have any questions or concerns or specific issues. Big welcome to everybody. And for today's service, you may have read that it's titled Chained and Padlocked. So Tricia Stevens and Bob Kaiser will explain to us what that means.
In 2003, when a building of our own was nothing more than a pipe dream, we rented space for our Sunday services from the Comal County Senior Center. That October, we ran an announcement in the Herald Zeitung saying that the sermon would discuss from a Wiccan viewpoint how Halloween has evolved from the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. A member of the Senior Center Board, curious about the word Wicca, looked it up and found it was synonymous with witchcraft. Aghast, he flew into a frenzy, called the director and president of the board, and threatened to get the center's 501c3 designation revoked unless the board took action to stop the service. Bob and I arrived at the Senior Center early on Sunday morning, sermon in hand, and found the door to our rented room chained and padlocked. Bob and I were stunned. As more and more UUs arrived, we discussed the situation and decided a padlock would not stop our services. So we reconvened in Thea Cheshire's living room and had our service and sermon as planned. However, we had increasing concern about our future at the Senior Center. Bob, then board president, contacted their leadership and asked to attend the Senior Center board meeting in order to discuss our situation. The board agreed that we could continue with our rental agreement, provided we had their approval of our upcoming sermon topics in advance. That provision led us to begin searching for another building rental in New Braunfels, but unfortunately without success. Not wanting to stay at the Senior Center with its possible interference with our programming any longer than necessary, our next move was to begin looking for property so that sometime in the foreseeable future, we could have a home of our own where there would be no locks or chains to impede our freedom to choose our sermon topics or our search for truth and meaning.
So today's service is a mini version of that forbidden one 18 years ago.
Learn now the secret of the web that is woven between the light and the darkness, whose warp is life evolving in time and space, and whose weft is spun of the lives of women and men. Behold, we arise with the dawn of time from the gray and misty sea, and with the dusk we sink into the western ocean. And our lives are strung like pearls on the thread of our spirit, and never in all our journey go we alone. Welcome. Then as now, this service is a celebration of Samhain, which ordinarily takes place at sunset on October 31st. It is just one of 8 yearly Sabbats or festivals. Samhain signifies the end of summer the beginning of the Celtic New Year, and the time when our ancestors began to think of the bone-chilling winter to come, a frightening prospect for them. The sun's warmth was fading, and if winter was especially bleak, that could mean the end of an entire community. Thus, animals too old and weak to survive the harsh climate were slaughtered and salted, while enough grains, fruits, and vegetables were gathered and stored to last through the cold months ahead. The ancient ones lit huge fires on the hillside in celebration of Samhain and to honor the sun and encourage its return at Yule, to once again bring light and warmth to the people and the land. The fires were also a means of disposing of the bones of the slaughtered animals, which is where our word bone fire or bonfire comes from. Thoughts of those who had gone before, who had died of illness, by accident while gathering or hunting for food, and who had not survived past winters, were also uppermost in their minds. Maintaining a connection with generations of their beloved departed was then, and is still so today, a vital affirmation of love and life, death and rebirth. Like our ancestors of long ago, it's important that we remember and honor those who have gone before, since they are part of who we are. Our ancestors, known and unknown, live on in our memories and in the genes we inherited from them. In this way, they have become immortal. Each Sabbath ritual has a number of parts. The ritual begins with the lighting of a presence candle, or in our case, a chalice, and is followed by a declaration of the ritual's purpose. The space is then made sacred with the casting of the circle and the calling of the elements, air, earth, fire, and water. Once the god and goddess have been invoked and invited to the circle, the rite or centerpiece of the ritual begins. The rite today will be a brief meditation. The circle is opened and the sacred space is taken down in reverse order of its creation. First with a farewell to the god and goddess, then the elements, and finally the extinguishing of the chalice. We light this chalice in the name of those blessed souls who have crossed over to rest and reward. May power, grace, beauty, and love descend now in this place and on all who are gathered here. May the light of our own inner spirit transform our lives so that we may grow in understanding and wisdom, accepting adversity as a learning opportunity and rejoicing in the lessons learned. May we remember that the God and Goddess dwell within us and within all beings who share this planet with us. May we live our lives so as to bring honor to them and to ourselves.
We gather today to celebrate the Feast of the Dead, to welcome all those who have gone before us and bury the light with the old year. The harvest is completed and the earth rests as it awaits the return of the sun and the fruitful mother. The land above grows barren, but within her womb is the seed of the God, the seed that will bring new life.
Energy surrounds you. Imagine that you can push this energy out a few feet from you. Now push it 2 blocks away, then a mile away. Try and push the energy out so far that you can sense it encompassing us all in a sacred circle of celebration and intent. This circle is charged by the powers of the ancient ones, and only love shall enter and leave this space. The circle is cast.
This is Samhain, the time when the separation between the physical and spiritual worlds is thin, the time when the spirits of the dead may pass to and fro between them, and we are filled with the wonder and mystery of other realms. The realms of the spirits and the gods themselves surround us, but there is no fear of the dead, only a loving connection. In this circle, we are joined by the unseen presence of departed friends and family, for this is the time of reunion.
The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye.
Earth, air, fire, and water, we bid you hail and welcome.
God of life and giver of life, dread Lord of shadows, yet is the knowledge of thee the knowledge of death. Open wide the gates through which we all must pass, and let our dear ones who have gone before return this night to make merry with us. And when our time comes, as it must, O Comforter and Consoler, Giver of peace and rest, we will enter your realms gladly and unafraid.
Gracious Lady, fruitful Mother, you have showered us with your bounty, and in the turning of the seasons, we acknowledge you now as crone as you walk with the Lord of Shadows. We know that within you is yet another season waiting to be born, and we bide patient until the mother returns.
Life and death are a cyclical process through which we may experience many states of being, material and spiritual. Death is but a part of the natural and unending cycle of creation and destruction, a staging post in the journey of our individual evolution. It is not the end of life, but a period of rest, rejuvenation, and peace. Just as the universe goes through cycles and seasons, existence, decay, destruction, lying dormant and reawakening, so too the cycles of nature and the cycles of women and men.
We come to you, O ancient ones, with open hearts and hands to honor our beloved dead and to receive the blessings of the universe, blessings of good health, prosperity, and the companionship of those we love. As the veil between the worlds grows thin, we honor our beloved dead and ask their spirits to join us in this sacred space.
Let's take a moment now to meditate and let each of us imagine that we are being joined by the unseen presence of our departed yet still loved friends and family. For this is the time of reunion.
Visualize the energy of your thoughts circling around, gathering strength. And as you release that energy into the universe, may it be used to bring you wisdom, health, strength, and prosperity. Blessed be. God
and Goddess.
We thank you for your presence here. Return now to your far realms with our blessing. We bid you hail and farewell.
Earth, the roots from whence we came. Water, the blood of generations that flows through us. Fire, the passion that gave us life. Air, the breath that breathes through time. We thank you for your presence here.
Return now to your far realms with our blessing. We bid you hail and farewell. With your imagination, reach out into the far distance and pull back the energy you sent out earlier. Take a deep breath in and feel that energy surround you once again.
The circle is open but unbroken. May the peace and love of our ancestors and beloved departed be ever in our hearts. As we extinguish the chalice, prepare yourselves for the coming darkness. Ready the harvest of your hopes and dreams. Light the fires against ignorance and fear. Remember that the darkness is but one turn upon the wheel, and the death we all must face is merely the doorway of life to come.
Love is the law, and by love we are bound. In love we have come together, and in love shall we depart.
Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.